And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that extended break. Hope you're able to get your food, your snacks, your water, everything ready for the playoffs of the H.4.0.S Galactic Battle by ENDORFY. ENDORFY? Welcome. Welcome to the playoffs. We just spent the last 4 hours covering the group stage. Oh, did I say 4 hours? I didn't. Where has the time? It's almost been 6 hours. Where has the time gone? Oh no, we're losing our minds. It's been almost 6 hours. We have since covered the group stage, and now we are ready for the second half of the tournament, for the playoffs, for the playoff bracket. Here we go! Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the playoff bracket yourself, because we are diving into a PvZ between Nerchio and Gerald. Let's go. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have our blue Zerg player, our returning legend of StarCraft. Not just Polish StarCraft, but StarCraft in general. He just took down Trifax 2-0 in the group stage. Can he keep on going? Can he keep the run alive? It is Nerchio. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have arguably the best Protoss player in all of Poland. We have the red Protoss representing Storm Gaming. It is Gerald. Here we go again. We have yet to really feature too much of Gerald tonight. We did catch a glimpse of him in the FFA at the start of the broadcast. But Gerald was swiftly taken out by Nerchio. It's a bit of a grudge match here. To be fair, the FFA is a little more chaotic, but if you weren't here 6 hours ago at the start of the broadcast, if you weren't here, there was an FFA. There was an 8-player free-for-all where most or a lot of the players that were featured tonight they all got involved. We had players like Mishu, we had Dana, we had Pal, we had Gerald, Nerchio, Rodzin. They all got involved. And in the FFA, we had some skirmishes between players, and Nerchio was spawned in next to Gerald. And Nerchio was able to abuse Gerald with muta play, was able to harass him, was able to eventually kill him as well, and was the player to eliminate Gerald from the FFA. But now the gloves are off. And now Gerald, he's here for revenge in what he is known for in a 1v1. Gerald, he is one of the favorites for this entire tournament, I would say. Obviously, Alej is the best Zerg player in Poland. Spirit is the best Terran in Poland. Again, and arguably, Gerald is the best Protoss player. There are a lot of Protoss players in Poland. There's Gerald, there's Mana, there's Cristiano, there's Papi, there's Ziomek, there's Rodzin. But again, I would put Gerald barely above the rest. They are all amazing, don't get me wrong, and on a good day, again, could go either way. But Gerald is a pretty big challenge, for Nerchio. Can he pull this off? Again, to go over the group stage if you weren't here for it, Nerchio did take down Trifax 2-0 in a very impressive ZVZ. But we spoke about that, about how typically when it comes to returning retired players, maybe even Koreans that come back from the military, typically their best matchup when they come back is PvP. It's the matchup that has changed the least over the years, and Nerchio clearly did retain a lot of skill. He looked very impressive in that ZVZ. Looked less so impressive in his ZVT against Spirit, if you remember that series. Nerchio did play against Spirit earlier today in the group stage, and Nerchio tried multiple times to go 2-base muta. Didn't work. Did not work against Spirit. Can he make mutas work against Gerald? That is the question. As we're getting into our openers, and here we go, we do have a hatch gas pool standard open out of Nerchio, was forced to take the unnatural natural. Again, Nerchio hasn't been active in quite some time, but so far as builds, they seem solid, they seem logical. There is definitely thought and definitely reason behind them. And hatch gas pool into the third. Meanwhile, we do have Gerald's going for a Stargate opener, and the Overlord of Nerchio does confirm the Stargate, does confirm the Oracle first. So Nerchio, he is aware of what's going on. Do have the Adepts shading into the main base, and 2 Adepts do one-shot drones. Ooh, and we're getting a lot of damage done. 3 drones go down already here. A bit of a move command by Nerchio. Lings, they go down as well. We're not done. We are still wreaking havoc, and we get 4 workers, soon to be 5, and we can keep going. This is becoming too much. Ooh, too much damage done here. 6 workers go down in total. And here comes the Oracle from behind to clean up everything else that's left here. We get 7, 8, 9 drones going down the entire mineral line, and this is game-ending damage. This is far too much to be occurring here. this early on in the game. Nerchio, his queen's out of position. He only had 3 queens as well. He was distracted by the adepts. And with our initial units, Gerald has a massive lead. Remember, this was merely the opener. This was not an all-in by any means. This wasn't a hyper-aggressive. It was just 2 adepts and 1 oracle. And again, we just skipped out on the links. There weren't enough links to deal with the adepts, and we did come back to mining a little bit too soon as well. And this is looking dire already here for Nerchio. The other oracle going to be coming in towards the natural. We have no spore. No spore. We can ignore the queen. Only 1 queen as well. And we are dealing even more economic damage here, up to 6, 7, 8 workers going down. Oh my god, the Oracle barely does escape. And I'm afraid to look at the units lost tab, but let's have a look at it. It is going to be 24. 24 drones have gone down in this game. Earlier, it was game-ending damage. This is devastating. This, I don't even... this is far too much to recover from. Nerchio is stuck redroning, and what? Can we get some translations from crew? I see a laser in there with a drone. What's he saying?
Saying, I have counted 1 laser of drones.
Aye. He's gonna have to count more than that. As the adepts, they're not done. We shaded between the bases again. Nerchio, I mean, he knows that he's lost far too much. Even with that joke, that comment, 1 laser is drones. That's a lot of drones. A laser. He's known for over droning. He's known for his greed for his economy. And yeah, I mean, we're not done. We're not. Well, oh no. Let me just check. 35 workers go down. Oracle comes in. We're not going to get any more, but that is almost as many as we get a stasis in the main base. Leave. He just wants to get to work. Leave his workers alone. Gerald, you're an animal. Let Nerchio mine. You do not want to be a drone in this game, as many workers as we have already died here for Nerchio. And essentially what this means is that Gerald, he has a massive lead. He's ahead not just economically, he's ahead tech-wise as well. Nerchio, where he otherwise should be teching, is stuck re-droning and resaturating over and over again. Nerchio has no standing army whatsoever. When Gerald decides to push out, there will be very little to stop him. Now, Nerchio, how do we come back in this game? Infestation bits on the way. This may be for Swarm Host. Swarm Host can be a way to come back. We have seen, fun fact, for example, in ZVP, if we see a player like Dark lose maybe 10 workers. If he loses 10 workers or even 8 workers in the harassment, he's willing to not just go all in, but at times, if he wants to go for a longer game, he invests into an infestation pit for Swarm Host, for infestors, to gain value with NG-based units, essentially, which is kind of what a Swarm Host is. Here we see infestors on the way. That's another good way to gain value here. Again, this makes sense given the situation, but I just gave the scenario that, like, this is what happens if you lose like 10 workers, for example, right? Well, we've lost 35. it's borderline insurmountable from this point, as Gerald, he gets across the map with the Blink Stalkers. Blink is done, +1 about to kick in as well. Nerchio is stuck with 0-0 links. Can we get the fungal? Throughout the fungal, we miss it. The blinks are on point here from Gerald. He avoids the fungal, will avoid the main army as well. Trades well against the links, rotates back around. And Nerchio, he's hanging on here. He's trying to hang on to his last. Oracle harassing still in between the bases. Nerchio mustering up an army. He's going for a counterattack. He's going to be able to get the shield battery at least. Shield battery is going to be going down, but the charge lots are here. And there's nothing for this. There's no Bailings, there's no Roaches. Without Bailings or Roaches, Chargelots, they will have their way with this army. Stasis Trap coming in from behind. The boys are being forced to be pulled. And more workers are falling. And here it comes the end of the game. GG gets called as Gerald snowballs out of control and will take game number 1. GG. Again, the initial early game harassment was too much. And Nerchio, almost like Cristiano. Nerchio, he just wasn't able to get into his game. Wasn't able to really show what he's made of. Again, he looked very impressive earlier against Trifax, and even against Gerald in the FFA, he looked good as well. But that is with a stable economy. Unfortunately, before he could get into a stable economy, before he could really play StarCraft, he was stopped. He was stopped in his tracks here. Again, did not take the opener seriously, and the opener of Nerchio was lacking a little bit there. We were skipping out on Lings, and we were skipping out on Queens. It was too greedy. It was too greedy from Nerchio. He was punished for his greed, for his lack of queens and his lack of lings. That's why Gerald got out of control there. That's why he got out of hand. That's why he dealt so much damage. That's why he dealt game-ending damage. And the game did end in that moment when all the economic damage was being dealt. But now we're hoping for a more back and forth. If Nerchio can have a much more secure early game, then I look forward to a solid back and forth mid game. I look forward to it. I know we can get it, but it's not on us. It's on Nerchio. As we're getting into game number 2. And again, game 1 didn't really show us much of what Nerchio has to offer, which I do know he has more to offer here. Can we get into it though? We'll find out. Game 2 on Oceanborn. Let's go. Let us go. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have our Polish Zerg player, the Red Zerg, the legend himself. He has been retired for many, many years, recently coming back just for this event, just for these regional events. It's great to see him back here and still being a part of the StarCraft community. It is Nerchio. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Protoss player. Representing Sidestorm Gaming, again, arguably the best Protoss in all of Poland, it is Gerald. Here we go. As we do settle into this, and Nerchio going for a very different opener this time. Oh, never mind. He pulled that drone off to the right-hand side for a moment. I was expecting a pull first, but no, we go for a hatch first here on the low ground instead. Going to be a standard hatch gas pull opener out of Nerchio. Everything looking as it should and by the book. But again, it is all about the early game here. Can Nerchio avoid disaster? Can he avoid the damage dealt by the initial units here of Gerald? If he can, then we can get it back and forth. We can get into the mid game. Otherwise, we may see a repeat and the game may end before it really does begin. I'm hoping that that isn't the case, but we'll see. As Gerald does slip in towards the main base, getting a scout, confirming the opener, making sure that there is no fast gas, there's no fast spawning pool, there's no rush coming his way or early tech of any kind. Again, Gerald just making sure that Nerchio is on the up and up. As we do settle into this. And from here, we'll see where Gerald decides to take this. Honestly, we should be seeing a Stargate opener. Like, based on this pylon positioning, we should be seeing a Stargate opener here out of Gerald. Should be into Oracle once again. There's no reason to deviate. His opener achieved so much in game number 1, and we should be seeing it again in game number 2. And with that probe coming out, there is that Stargate. Is going to be the Stargate opener here from Gerald. Probe still harassing across the map, trying to delay the third base for as long as possible. Lings will show it away, and the third base will now be taken. And soon, Gerald is going to hit the field with those adepts. There's the first adept, there's the second adept on the way. They're shading across the map. And as we saw, 2 adepts can end the game. 2 adepts can one-shot workers if we do not take them seriously. If we do not shut them down early enough, then they can cause a lot of chaos and a lot of havoc. First adept is going to be threatening the bases here. We have 4 more Lings on the way, so you can see here Nerchio this time taking it very seriously. Remember, last game he did cut Ling production and was punished as a result. But this time more Lings on the way, Ling speed about to kick in. And Nerchio should be able to keep up with this. Should. Your Ling's going to be chasing down those shades. Adepts, they do focus on the tumor. Tumor going to be going down, and we cancel the shade. Gerald recalls back home. He recognizes that this time we have not been too greedy. We have not cut Lings, and Gerald will respect it. Which means we have a game. We have a game on our hands. These adepts, their job, their goal is to protect this third base and allow it to get up and running. These Lings, their goal is to try and delay the third if at all possible. We do test the waters here. We do test the front door at the natural base. The adept is under fire, and the Oracle forced to stay back at home, forced to protect that natural base. Behind this, though, we do have a very fast Evo Chamber. We're getting into +1 melee here from Nerchio. We have seen this in the past, but again, we're rushing into melee upgrades early on. Natural base getting saturated. We have continued droning as well. Nerchio did make an extra wave of lings, but only for map control. He is droning up behind this. I am concerned by the lack of queens. We have 3 queens. Oh, the 4th queen was delayed. Lings, they get across the map, but here come those oracles. Never mind, they are distracted. So far, so good for Nerchio. Does engage here with the adepts, and he forces the oracle to stay back at home, which means he's given time to allow these queens to finish. Which means these oracles will not threaten the mineral lines, which means Nerchio is safe back at home. Spores are on the way, 1 in each mineral line, and he's looking secure. Is looking secure here. Meanwhile, behind this, Gerald, going for a swarm toss style. That is double forge. Double forge for +1 attack and +1 armor as well. We should be working towards blink, charge, really both, to be honest, and this is going to be quite a hefty style here out of Gerald. But now Oracle's going to be threatening the mineral lines. So far, Gerald has Nerchio has avoided any damage. Oh, Stasis Trap only gets 1 drone as well. So nicely done here out of Nerchio. Oh, as it up, say shade in towards the 3rd. The wall is looking solid. The queens are in position. Ling's going to be engaging, and once again, we don't really deal too much economic damage. But here we go. The adepts say shade in between the bases here. Finally, drones are going down. We got 1, we got 2, we got 3. 3 workers, but that was what, 6 adepts? That was not quite worth it here for Gerald. Yeah, 6 adepts for 3 workers. Not a good trade for the Protoss player, but here comes the stasis. No reaction. Up. Oh my god. We do have a reaction in the main base here. It looks like the stasis is barely out of range of anything, so it will not be triggered. And Nerchio goes for a big counterattack. The adepts just died, which means we have very little to defend back at home, and the oracles are out of position. Oh, this 3rd base is under fire. Zealot's going to be going down. We get the Zealots, and from here we can get the probes as well. And this is getting out of hand. Nerchio shuts down at 10, 11, 12, 13 workers fall. Very nice counter damage here from Nerchio, and he is in this game. Behind this, we spoke about it, 1-1, Blink Stalkers on the way. And as I mentioned, this should be a Swarm Toss style. It's going to be for charge as a follow-up, and Archons as well to support. But before that can happen, we are flooding Lings. Remember, these are +1 melee Lings. Nerchio, he rushed into +1 melee very early on. That means these Lings, they pack quite a punch. Overcharge is popped. We do force it, but we get us around. The Zealots, they get caught out. They're out of range of the overcharge. Zealots will be going down. And we collapse on this 3rd base for a 2nd time, and Gerald is in a lot of trouble. Once again, going to be losing his mineral line. Every single worker going to be going down. We could even go for the Nexus. We could, we will, we are. That base, it gets surrounded. We're going for the kill on the base itself. The Oracles, they run out of energy. The pylon falls. The 3rd base as well. Behind this, here come the Mutas. Remember, this is how Nerchio was able to take down Geralt in the FFA. This is how Nerchio tried to play against Spirit. The Mutas. The Mutas, Bobby. Let's go. Lings, they shut down the 3rd. Geralt in quite a bit of trouble here. He's building up towards Archons, but he's stuck on 2 bases. Behind this, Nerchio, he has a 4th, but he's very all in. Bearing in mind that Nerchio has been making a lot of Lings. That's true. He's getting damage. Also true. But Nerchio hasn't been droned. His 3rd base, very undersaturated. He needs to deal damage here and drone up back at home. So far, he cleans up what little is left here at the 3rd base. Hoping to catch this Archon if at all possible. Lings, they check the 4th base location. Both 4th base locations, making sure that there was no hidden base. Storm going to be on the way. Archons are slowly amassing here at the natural as well. Oh, he wants to force another cancel. He wants it. He's going to get it. Gets us around and does cancel the 3rd base once again. At the same time across the map, Oracles, they threaten the 4th, but we have Queens and a Spore in position. Phoenix comes out, but once again, Queens do respond. And Gerald, can we get another cancel? We could try, but we did not commit this time. We do pull back. And Nerchio is still on a low drone count. I'm not too fond of this. We do have Mutas on the way. I would prefer to drone up to 3-base saturation first. 3-base saturation is 66 drones. We're at 54. A still very low worker count. We are getting into Mutas. We have a decent amount of them. But again, we don't have a lot of longevity. If Nerchio loses too much, he won't be able to rebuild. He will not have the economy to replace and to sustain his losses. So this is a very all-in style out of Nerchio. He is getting damage done, so it's okay for now. And the Mutas, they get into the mineral line. Probes are falling. And we're forcing a counterattack. We trigger a counterattack here. Gerald, he's going all in. Everything is dying back at home. And he's going for a big Hail Mary play. Meanwhile, the Mutas, they get into the main. We need Roaches back at home to defend. The Queens, the Transfuse. The Queens, they take down one of the Void Rays, but one Queen will fall. We're focusing our attention on the Mutas. And here comes the army, the main army of Gerald. Remember, he has Storm. He has Storm with this army. He has 3 High Templar, but no reinforcements. Nerchio, he should be able to shut this down even with the Storms. The Mutas are still across the map. They're still wreaking havoc. They get 23, 24, 26 probes. And we do force a recall. Gerald, he recalls back to the natural, doesn't have faith in his all-in, and he barely did anything with it. Nerchio, journeying up to 60, soon to be 70. His economy is looking solid, his upgrades looking good as well, and he's getting out of Muta, out of Lings, into Roaches. The Roach army is amassing. And Nerchio, he's in control. He's in control of this game. The non-stop, the constant Ling run-by has achieved quite a lot here. Gerald didn't really have any splash damage. He avoided a robo production. He, of course, tried to get into Archons as well, but they were limited with their availability here to defend and protect the third. And Nerchio, he's looking to force an ace match. He's looking to force another game against Gerald of all players. Again, we were talking about him, but he is one of the best Protosses in Poland. I would rate him above Cristiano in certain aspects. I think Cristiano is more of an aggressive Protoss player, but Gerald feels a lot more well-rounded. I would put them above Mana in aspects as well. Gerald, he's struggling here. He's struggling against the might of Nerchio, against the Mutas. But we still have an army. We still have Storms. Bear that in mind. These Storms, they do pose a big threat to Nerchio, considering how many High Templar there are. You have to take them seriously, as we are pushing. Nerchio is up in supply. He's maxed out at this point. He is ready for a fight. He was forced to cancel his 5th. Let's say 5th base. He's still on 4 bases against the 3 bases of his opponent. Letting it run by being set up. We check for a 4th. There is none. We do come across the army. Nerchio forced back. He's checking the linear 4th base location, or the triangular 4th. Confirms that there is nothing there. Confirms the 3 base all in. He knows he just has to focus on the defense. Bailings are done. But no bailing speed. Show us the Storms. Well, big Storms here on the Bailings. Most Bailings will be going down. Good snipes here on the Queens. Good engage so far. Once again, we have plenty of Storms available. Yeah, we just drenched the army here in Storms. We collapse on... Oh my god, the Storm's doing so much to the Roaches. They barely do escape. Meanwhile, Ling run-by is going to be threatened. Sorry, Muta counterattack going to be threatening the bases. We get a handful of probes. And with reinforcements, we collapse on this army. We clean up the Archons. Oh, a bit of friendly fire with those vials. But we do get on top of this army here. 14 probes going down across the map, and Nerchio, he's doing it. He's pushing through. He cleans up all the High Templar, all the Archons. Only Stalkers remain. The Mutas still wreaking havoc across the map, getting 14 probe kills, crippling the economy once again. And Nerchio, he is remaxing. He's on 69 workers. Nice. And remaxing with Ling, Roach, Ravager, even a couple of Infestors in the mix. Hive is done. Adrenal on the way. Nerchio looking very comfortable. Gerald going to be rotating around. He has potential with these Stalkers, and he will snipe a base. Once again, this 5th is going to be shut down. Nerchio, he's got a choice. He can either try to collapse on this army or go for a counterattack. And we have a counterattack on the way. Oh, he's checking for a 4th again. He's looking for expansions. He's like, yo, what's going on? Why are you still in this? Do you have an economy? Can you sustain yourself? Zealot run-by gets caught out. Again, there is no 4th base. Lings, they do dive on top of the army. Not a bad trade for Nerchio. The Fungals, they do connect. Oh, good target firing out of Gerald. He can blink away. He will blink away. He's being chased down. Do we have a storm? Knight Templar forced to spend their storms on the Lings and only on a handful of them, and we collapse on this position. Stalker's going down. Banelings, they crash into the wall towards the natural. And Nerchio, he is doing it here. We are looking to force that ace match, to force a series out of this. Oh, the Nova! Decent connection. Good connection on the Road Ravager, but GG gets called, and Nerchio ties up the series 1-1. GG. Let's go. Nerchio, he may have been retired for many years. He may not be an active player anymore, but still poses a threat even to modern pro gamers, even to Gerald. GG. GG, well played. We are going all the way to game number 3. Vamonos, vamonos. I'm catching up in the chat. Nerchio, the Nerchio, yes, Bobby, yes. The Nerchio, the foreign hope, the old foreign hope. I do see some people getting excited to see back, kind of. Nerchio, over the past couple of months, he has been competing specifically in regional LAN events. Like, there have been a lot of LANs here in Poland that have been popping up, and Nerchio has been dropping by. He's been taking part. It's been really cool to see him taking part in the community, but he's not, like, you know, practicing full time. He's not competing in online events. He's only here to take part with you know, people from his country, from people of his nation. He's back as a legend in this House Galactic Battle, and he's doing well for himself. He's doing well. Really cool to see him. Really cool to see him here once again. And can he take the series? It would be an insane upset if that were to happen. I'll be honest. Gerald is poised to make a deep run in this tournament, but he's struggling a little bit here against Nerchio. A little bit. Again, you could see what happens if Nerchio can get a good economy. Game 1 was brutal. Game 1 was very one-sided, where Gerald won the game with 2 adepts, basically. With 2 adepts and an oracle. In Game 2, Nerchio, he took it seriously. He had a much stronger early game that led to a wild mid-game. And now we're getting into game number 3. All the way to game número 3. The ace match. It's going to be on Alkione. I see some other people in the chat asking about Ziggy. Unfortunately, I would love to see Ziggy. Ziggy was more active recently. If you remember, though, Ziggy is actually living in Korea. He's not in Poland, and this is a LAN event. If you may be tuning in now, this is, of course, the House Galactic Battle, a big LAN event happening in Warsaw over the entire day here over this weekend, and yeah, unfortunately, Ziggy is not actually living in Poland at the moment, so he's not around to take part in this event. But here we have a legend of the StarCraft scene. We have the Red Zerg player tying up the series 1-1, forcing the ace match. It is Nerchio. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Protoss player representing Storm Gaming, a modern era pro gamer here, struggling a little bit against the old guard. Can he bounce back? It is Gerald. Ooh, as we are going for a pool first. As a pool first opener here out of Nerchio. This time, the natural base is blocked. Fun fact, Nerchio was actually going for this opener in the last game. If you remember, in game number 2, Nerchio pulled away a drone. He was ready for a spawning pool, but there was no hatch block. There was no hatch block, so Nerchio ended up going for his natural base. Here in game number 2, you can see that this time he is hatch blocked. So he goes for the hatch, so he goes for the pool first, into the gas, into a more aggressive opener, and this is because he refuses to expand elsewhere. But he's gonna have to. A very late hatchery here from Nerchio. He was trying desperately to expand on location, wasn't able to in the end. And as a result, Nerchio has a less economic start, but a more aggressive one in a way. We have a queen in production, a couple of lings, ling speeds in the middle horizon as well. So he can pose a bit of a threat to his opponent, but he only made 2 lings. Only 2 lings have been made for Nerchio. So he's going to be slightly behind in the economy here in game number 3. Meanwhile, Gerald taking this seriously, going for a Zealot first. Overreacting a little bit. Gerald, it looks like he's a little bit afraid that maybe there's more lings. Because it was a pull first, maybe there's more lings on the way, so he's going for a safety Zealot. This Zealot is not necessary. As we can see, because we have full vision, we're just droning. We're just droning, so Gerald is playing safe. As a result, forced to spend some excess minerals here, where he otherwise wouldn't have. So Nerchio, he does do some counter damage in a way, forcing units to be made. Shield, oh my god, very early shield battery as well. Gerald, very paranoid, very afraid of an all-in, and the Overlord of Nerchio does see the shield battery as well. So very safe, very defensive setup here from Gerald. And Nerchio is just droning. He's just chilling. But here comes the aggression. First adept going to be shading across the map. Second adept on the way. Behind this, we have chosen our tech of choice, which is revealed to the Overlord. That is the Stargate. Stargate opener out of Gerald. And Nerchio knows. He is aware. Behind this, we do have an adept shading in towards the natural. We're applying some pressure, threatening a dive in towards the main as well. Link speed about to finish up. And we have our unit of choice. For the first time this series, it is not an Oracle, it's a Void Ray. Void Ray is on the way. It's actually rallied towards that pillar to shut down the Overlord. The Overlord did reposition, by the way, so Nerchio going to try to hide himself from that Void Ray. We'll see if he can. See if he can avoid the Void Ray. Behind this, same build. Once again, Nerchio, I say same build. Less economic start for Nerchio, but he is going into a fast Evo chamber, into a fast +1 melee. Just like the previous game, looks like he wants to rely a lot on massling. Ooh, the Overlord does get caught, and I love this out of Gerald. He opens up Void Ray, shuts down the Overlords. Behind this, Twilight Council. Twilight Council before third base. This screams Glaive Adepts. And you know what Adepts are good against? Lings. They're good against Lings, and there we go. We have Glaives on the way. Nerchio playing safe, though. Upon seeing the Void Ray, does what you should be doing here. That is, you throw down a Roach Warren. You don't know what's coming out. You do know that the third base is delayed, though. So it could be Glaives, it could be Oracles, it could be Skytoss, could be anything. So Nerchio wisely does go for the Roach Warren. Oracle is revealed. Third base soon to be taken. It is delayed thanks to these Lings. +1 melee is still on the way. But again, this Roach Warren is going to be invaluable here to Nerchio once he realizes what's going on. Speaking of, the Lings, they arrive once again. Good control there from Nerchio. Does shut down that probe. This is something that we did see in the ZVZ. So if you weren't here, earlier today we casted Nerchio versus Trifax in the ZVZ, and Nerchio had very clean Ling control. And you could see even there, just very precise micro, focusing down that probe, delaying the third base even further, and now we have Roaches on the way. Meanwhile, do we have Queens? That's the better question. We only have 3. This is something that we have noticed, that we noticed in game number 2, and even in game number 1. Nerchio, he doesn't really prioritize his Queens here in ZVP, and that is dangerous. That is very dangerous, especially in the Stargate meta. We have Oracles that are going to be harassing, and Queens are paramount here when it comes to defending in the early game. So we don't have a lot of Queens available here to Nerchio. Hopefully he can keep up with the movement of the Oracle and the Void Ray. Meanwhile, Roaches are amassing as we speak. Nerchio, he's aware of how late the base is. He is maybe pieced together that it is going to be Glaive Adepts. Speaking of, the Adepts are coming. Stage Trap comes in. Up! Ooh, catches one drone. Ooh, and we take down the Oracle. Bit of a slip up there from Geralt. Maybe a bit of nerves, but that was not a worthwhile trade for Geralt whatsoever. But we're not done, because here come the Adepts. We do have Roaches. Roaches are in position. We can zone the Adepts away, but we're looking for to complete the shade. We shade into the natural, and the third base damage is being done. Again, this is how Geralt took the first game through his Adept harass, and so far, pretty good. He kills 6 workers. 6 workers go down. More Roaches are in production. Adept shading towards that third base as well. We take control of the high ground, and drones, even more workers are falling. And this is becoming too much. This is becoming a bit much here as Adepts, they do manage to shade away. 11 drones go down, and we're not done. We still have 4 more Adepts up and running. Nerchio, he did a great job at delaying the third base, but here defending against the Adepts has been struggling. Oh, even the Queen goes down to the Adept as well. As we still have an Adept in the main base. Roach is going for a counterattack, but we have a Void Ray to defend, and not much at home, to be fair. A Ling run by could be deadly. Roach is less so. They're just too slow. They're being shut down by the Void Ray. Adepts, they shade once again into the main base, into the third as well, and this is becoming too much. Another Queen goes down. 5 more workers, and the Glaive Adepts, they're just pulling Nerchio apart. He just cannot keep up. Not with just roaches. Again, he's been avoiding making those lings. Stuck redroning, and as he makes a worker, he loses a worker. Nerchio down to 14. And again, I do really like this from Gerald, going for Glaive Adepts. Again, recognizing that with Adept Micro, that's where Gerald was able to come out on top in game 1, and he just doubles down here in game 3. And Nerchio's economy is in shambles. It's absolutely in shambles. Looking at the Unisoul stat, 27. 27 drones went down here. Nerchio, his economy is hurting so bad, and Gerald, he's up 20 workers. He's up 20 workers in a PvZ is devastating. We're still not done. We're still not done. As Oracle gets in between the bases, doesn't get too much done here at the 3rd. But the Adepts still threaten the mineral lines here of Nerchio. Lings are now amassing. And this time we have a much better position here. As I say that. A brutal position behind the mineral line as the Adepts kill 5 more workers. No reaction out of Nerchio. He doesn't pull away, and as a result, he loses too much damage. These are just 2 Adepts, and they kill 8 drones. Nerchio's all in. Nerchio, he should be completely all in, but he's working on a hive. We have a hive on the way. We have infestors in production. It looks like Nerchio wants to go for a longer game, but the problem here is that Gerald is miles ahead in the economy, and that is reflected in the tech and soon to be the army as well. We have +1 attack on the way, charge, disruptor production well underway as well for Gerald. Gerald, he is in control of this. And Nerchio, lesser. Far less so. We're hoping for like a miracle fungal. If we can land a good fungal on the army, if we can avoid the Novas, if we can get a surround and clean up the Stalkers, there's a lot that needs to go right. There's a lot that needs to go well. We'll see if we can pull it off. Rocks are being knocked down. Geralt's rotating over towards the 4th base. He is going to be rotating over. You have those fungals. There he goes up. Up. Ooh, big connection here on the infestors. We are going to be forcing a recall. We do get a fungal, but the recall does evacuate half of those Stalkers. That was almost a good catch from Nerchio, but it does take a big Nova to the face. Meanwhile, here on the front lines, we have the gold in control of Geralt. We have a gateway explosion, disruptors, not just disruptors, but alongside them, Colossi on the way as well, and a Dark Shrine. May as well take in every direction. Honestly, if Geralt really wanted to, we could probably take up into Sky Toss. I wouldn't be opposed to that kind of transition either. The pressure is on Nerchio right now as he's trying to recover. And he is droning, don't get me wrong. And Geralt is over-probing here, up to 93 probes. Oh my god. A little bit too much. This is going to be hurting Geralt a little bit once he maxes out, because his army is going to be smaller than it should be. And as I talk about a Skytoss transition, Fleet Beacon's on the way. Fleet Beacon is on the way. We are getting ready for Skytoss. Meanwhile, Nerchio going Ling Bane into Ultra. I'm not opposed to it, but it's just really late. It's just really late tech here from Nerchio. As they cross the map, he collapses on the Stalkers. Does pick up a couple of them. Not bad. The Lings are doing well. They dab on top of the Stalkers. Overcharge is popped, keeping one of those Stalkers alive, but the others do fall. A very efficient trade here from Nerchio, trading minerals for gas. At the same time, ooh, gets caught out by some of these Zealots. We'll clean them up, though. Dropper Lord's threading the bases here of Nerchio, trying to force a warp in, but only one Stalker warps in. There we go. Forcing, ideally, an overreaction. But again, these Dropper Lords are empty, and we're just buying time. Ultras are coming out. Ultras are on the way. Again, very impressive that Nerchio has been able to survive here until Ultra Tech, but he's still behind. He's still catching up. He still has a ways to go. Nice fungal here on the Zealots. Do clean them up. And despite getting a Fleet Beacon, I don't see +1 air attack, and I don't see carriers. Not yet. Don't see them yet here from Gerald. He's still committed to a ground-based army, which means Nerchio still has a chance. Still has somewhat of a chance here. There it is. Mothership is on the way. Minus 300, minus 300. Honestly, a pretty useful unit here as the new modern mothership. Can cloak units, can recall, pass the army into a main. Here we go, Gerald pushing in. Nerchio going for a counterattack, catches an immortal. But this space is going to be going down, and Nerchio, he's being cornered. The Novas! Big connections here on the Ultras. But at the same time, here comes some reinforcements. We're going for a surround. The Ultras, they collapse on the army. And have we overextended? We do catch the Stalkers, the Disruptors as well. Can we get on top of the Colossus? It's so close. We clean up everything else regardless. A very efficient trade here from Nerchio. And we spoke about it earlier. Gerald was maxing out, but he has too many probes. He's on 90. He's almost on 100 probes. Stalkers come in. We shut down the Ultras. Oh, Gerald, he still can maintain himself, though. I mean, he's got a massive bank. He can remax again and again. That was a very good fight, though, out of Nerchio. Very good fight. He resets the Robo army, which is something that I didn't think he could pull off. So very impressive. The problem here is his economy. He's on 3 bases. He's on a 3-base economy with 69 workers going for a big link counterattack. He needs to buy time. He needs to buy time. He needs to force Gerald to turn back around. Forces a recall. Zealot run by on the left-hand side, though. Oh, and this Zealot run by has a lot of potential. The base on the right still up and running. Zealots, they do arrive. They force a cancel. The army of Nerchio has to respond. Do have to respond here. They collapse on the Zealots from behind. At the same time, another Zealot run by, and we are pulling Nerchio apart. Ultras, they're here. They're in position, but they're just a little bit too little too late, and the base does crumble. Decent fungal here on the army. We're going to be able to clean up these Zealots, but they already killed the base. We've denied 2 bases here, making sure that Nerchio cannot max out. Even though Nerchio had a really good fight, he can't sustain himself. This has been the problem here for Nerchio in this game. Gerald, he's on 100 workers. He's got 100 probes, Papi. Oh my god. So many workers, such an economy, and here comes the Sky Toss. Mass Void Ray, Flux Veins on the way. And what does Nerchio have? How can he deal with Void Rays? Looking at the army, he's got 3 Queens. He's got 2 Infestors. And that's it. That's all he can do. As DTs have arrived, there's no detection. We are looking to shut this down. Do we have a fungal? We don't. We need a little bit more energy. No. DTs are going ham, and it looks like we will force a cancel. Oof. Yeah, we cancel the base. Detection arrives 1 second too late. Spire is on the way. So it looks like Nerchio, I mean, he just saw some of the carriers. He's aware of how much danger he's in. He saw the Void Ray, sorry. And his answer is going to be Corruptor. But he needs so much time to get into Corruptors. And the reality is that Void Rays, they perform quite well against Corruptors. As the Void Rays have been revealed, we do land a fungal, but there's no follow-up. That's the reality here. There's a decent connection with the fungal, but we focus down the Infestor, and we can keep on pushing. At the same time, Nerchio going for a Hail Mary play, sending everything towards the bottom right. He collapses on this fresh mining base. Ooh, detection was dealt with. DTs are being warped in, and there is no detection to deal with this cloak. Oh, there we go. Overseer comes in. It does arrive. We can keep going. We shut down the base. At the same time, a big counterattack. We're going for a pseudo base trade. We kill 1 base, but Gerald, he kills 2. Kills 2 hatcheries, and he's not done. The Void Rays, they go ham. They're going for the natural, and there's nothing to stop the Void Rays. Ultras are coming in, but the cannons, the Stalkers, they're just whittling away at those Ultras over time. The Void Rays are going ham. They're trying to break through. The Queens are holding on. They take down 1 Void, but only 1 Void Ray. Meanwhile, Nerchio, he did shut down the gold, but he's being forced back. Being forced to turn back around. The Queen reinforcements, they come in. We do shut down another Void Ray. Oh, and almost another. Nerchio down to 52 workers. He does have 1 fresh base here towards the bottom right. Meanwhile, Gerald expanding towards the left. Is going to be expanding Now, these Ling Rumbites have a lot of potential, and yeah, we're going straight for that base. At the same time, Gerald pushing on the right-hand side with Immortal Stalker. We have Dark Templar to defend as well. But that won't save the base. And Nexus falls alongside every single worker as well. Very nice trade there, very nice pick up from Nerchio. But here comes the death ball of an army, and it is a death ball. Looking at it, we have a mothership, we have 7 Immortals and 7 High Templar, each with Storms. The Immortals deal with the Ultras, the High Templar deal with everything else. And we have Stalkers to support. There's no engaging. There's no way to engage this. Nerchio just doesn't have the army for it. He did well surviving this long despite the terrible start. Nerchio, his economy was crippled, by the way. And the Storms, oh my god, massive Storms here. We clean up all the Lings. Only Ultras remain, and Ultras versus Immortals is never going to go the way of the Zerg. GG gets called, and Gerald will take the series 2-1. GG. GG, well played. Gerald gets his revenge from the FFA match, from the free-for-all, and he will show who's the better player here in the current era of StarCraft. Gerald, he is, of course, the more active player here. He does come out on top. He was the favorite player to begin with, but a shout out to Nerchio because he made a series out of it. And even here, in Game 3, imagine if his economy wasn't crippled. Like, unfortunately, the Glaive Adepts did game-ending damage. They did game-ending damage, which is why it's impressive that the game didn't end. That Nerchio, he was treading water and barely holding on the entire time. He was never really ahead, is the reality. Like, he was, catching the army. He was going for Ling run-bys and ultra counterattacks, which was good. But again, like, it still just wasn't enough to overcome the disadvantage of Nerchio losing so many drones early on. Just was not enough. Impressive, though, nonetheless. Impressive. Was a great series. Was a great playoff match, as we have some results to go over. As you can see on the screen, an exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the Wikipedia page. We have a Laser who took down Bapi 2-0. We have a Laser versus Gerald on the horizon later on down the line, which we will be casting. Meanwhile, Spirit takes down Aristery 2-0 as well. So we have our upper bracket semifinals filling out. But we're going to be going on a short break. When we return, we have Mishu versus Christianer up next to determine who faces off against Spirit. See you soon.